first then, let's just go through all of the materials and the equipment that you're going to need today. So balloon wise, I've got all of my balloons in this bag, so I've chosen the colours. The lady's having rose gold as her main theme, so we've gone for rose gold. We've got Calisan Retro White, those ones are Qualitex, those are Calisan. I have some blush in there as well, and some Qualitex Peach. I'm not sure which combo I'm going to go with yet. I'm going to see what it looks like. We've got 12-inch, 5-inch, and I've also got some clear diamond clear 260s in there so that I can put some mini balloons throughout the design as well. Then I've got the two numbers that I'm going to be using. These are the 1 and the 2 in rose gold. They are the Unique brand, and they are 34-inch foil numbers. Then I've got some curling ribbon. I'm using silver today, just the first light colour that I picked up off the shelf. Then for my inflators, I'm going to be using my electric inflator. This is the one I use when I'm preparing for jobs at home. It's relatively cheap and easy to use. You get it from Amazon for about £20. I'll link the closest version to this that is on there now, because I don't think they actually do in this colourway anymore. I think it's like a pale pink one that we use in the shop. But this is the one I've got here. And then I'm just going to use a two-way balloon pump as well. Now the last thing that I've done is got some vinyl cut out ready as well with the little girl's name on it. So her name's Amber, and that is going onto one of the balloons, probably the number 1, because I think it's a 12. I do need to check that actually, but I don't suppose it really matters all that much which way around they go, because they're going on 2 separate stacks. But that is to go on one of the numbers. And that is all the equipment that you're going to need for this. In fact, it is not. The last piece of equipment that I've got is my balloon sizer, and that is the one that I'm using today. It's a 10-inch balloon sizer. It is the Qualitex one. Don't know whether you can get this anymore, but there are box sizers online that you could purchase if you wanted to. So I'll link one of those down below for you, because unfortunately Qualitex have gone into administration, so I'm not really sure what's going on with all their stuff, but this is the one I am using today. The last thing that you're going to need is a supervisor like the one I've got. Look at how good this supervisor is. She's asleep in this bed. She's ready to watch me make these towers. She absolutely hates balloons, but she does not want to be away from her mama. So she's going to sit in this bed and she's going to watch me do these stacks, even if she hates it. First thing to do then when you are doing these stacks is to inflate your numbers first, because if you've got a defective number, it's going to give you time to find that out whilst you are inflating all of your other balloons. So I am just going to take these out of the packaging first of all, and I'm going to inflate these numbers, and then I'm going to leave them just to sit whilst I do everything else. And then if there's a problem with them, I'm going to know about it pretty quickly, and I'm going to be able to go out and grab another one from the shop. You can also inflate your numbers using your electric inflator, but I like to do it with the hand pump purely because I just feel as though it's more gentle on the valve that's inside of this balloon. If you haven't used a foil balloon before, just to let you know, inside of it there is a plastic valve which is self-sealing. So once your balloon is full, you just take out your inflator from the nozzle and it's going to just self-seal and no air is going to escape. I decided in the end to go to post my Etsy parcels rather than make the stacks up. So it's been about 45 minutes since I inflated these numbers, and I think we're good to go. There's no sign of them going down or anything like that. So what we need to do next is put the ribbon onto the balloon. So to do this, I'm going to just use some curling ribbon, and I'm using the rolling neck method. So I'm going to show you how to do that. First things first, just going to grab probably about 2 meters of this curling ribbon. I'll just snip that off there. Right, it's super duper easy to do this. So all I'm going to do is get the ribbon, pop it behind the neck of that balloon, as you can see, and then I'm going to fold that over so that the ribbon is now encased in the neck of the balloon. Then all I'm going to do is just roll that ribbon down towards the base of my balloon here. So now it looks a bit like this. And then all I'm going to do is just tie those 2 ribbons into a double knot at the base of that balloon. So now that is done, this is what you're going to be left with. So that is the neck of the balloon there, and it's tied up nice and neatly. It looks so much more neater than if you were going to just tie it around the balloon's neck and just leave that bit flapping around. So you can use this method for all sorts of balloons. So we use it on foil balloons like this that are floating. We use it on orbs as well, so it just looks nice and neat and finished off nicely. So they're ready. Now we can make the stacks and put them all together. The stacks that we're making today are classic decor pieces incorporating some organic design elements. Now, organic has been popular for probably 5 or 6 years, maybe a little bit longer, and it's something that when I started ballooning 20 years ago wasn't really a thing. So I am a lot more familiar with the classic decor side of thing. The main element of classic decor is that all of the balloons are uniform, they're all the same size and they're all the same shape. Whereas with organic decor pieces, it's basically you kind of make it up as you go along, and they're all different sizes, and you add in different elements of different sizes to make it more interesting, hence why it's organic. So with this, we're going to be using the sizer to make sure that all our 12-inch or 11-inch balloons are uniform in size. They're all the same size going up. So on your stack, you're going to have a nice straight edge along it. And then we are going to incorporate some organic elements using smaller 5-inch balloons. We're going to pop those into the piece using the modelling balloons that we've got here. So I'm going to start off first of all by sizing up all of my quads. I'm going to be making quads, which is 4 balloons together. So I'll make duplets, which is 2, and then I'll twist them together to make them into the quads. I'm going to start off, I think, with the rose gold and the retro white, but I'm going to incorporate some of this blush colour because I think it's quite nice, and then I'm going to just mix it all up nicely. I don't think I'm going to use that peachy colour because I've only got a few and they are a pearl finish, whereas all my others, apart from the rose gold, are like a matte finish. So I'm going to do that and just leave the rose gold as the shiny element in this design. So let's get started, and we'll inflate all of these, and you can watch me do that, and I'll show you how to make the quads and the duplets, and then we'll put them all together and make up the whole design. To make up a duplet, you've got your 2 balloons together, 1 in each hand. Just cross them over together, twist together and tie in a knot underneath, and then that makes a duplet. You need 2 of these to make a quad. Once you've got your 2 duplets together, all you need to do is cross them over in the centre, twist them together a couple of times to create a quad of balloons. I've got all of my balloons inflated and they're all ready now to be put together into the stacks, but the next thing that we need is a weight to go in them. So what I normally use is a water weight. So I've just got one of the retro white 11-12 inch balloons, and I have filled it with water and just tied it in a knot, so I've made myself a weight. Now these are fine and they're quite strong, but I would recommend that you tell your customer that there is a water weight in the design, so that they don't when they're getting rid of it, pop it and find out that they're covered in water, and then they'll complain to you that you didn't tell them. So make sure that you tell them they have a water weight in their design. Before I put everything together, what I am going to do is make my 5-inch balloons that are going to go into this design as well. So for this, I need my pair of scissors, I need my 260 Qs, and then I need a load of 5-inch balloons as well. And I'm using the same colours that are in this design already. Now normally I put 3 sets into one stack, so that's what I'm going to do today as well. So first things first is to get your 260 Qs, and you want to just put them together like this, and I'm going to need 3 for this. So I fold them in half like that, just grab my scissors and just cut them in half, and these are what we're going to use as the elastic parts for putting them into the design when we come to that point. What you'll need now is your hand pump. So I've got my hand pump and your 5-inch. So all I'm going to do is just inflate this one. Now with organic elements, which is what this part is, you can decide whether you want them all to be the same or you want them to be different sizes. Personally for me, I like them to be roughly the same size so that it doesn't look too odd. I think it looks better if they are totally round for these parts as well, because they just tend to sit better in the gaps of the bigger balloons. So all I'm going to do is give that 3 pumps so it's one size, and then I'm going to grab another balloon and do the 3 pumps again. Now they're both roughly the same size. What I'm going to do is squish them against myself. Normally do it on my legs, but you won't be able to see. So I'm going to just do it here. And you can see now they are still the same size roughly. And then they're nice and round. So what we're going to do now is tie them quite tightly again into themselves, into a duplet. Then I'll get my 3rd colour, which is my blush, and I'm going to do the same again. So that's 3 pumps. I'm going to use this one to roughly guide my size, and that's about right. Then what I'm going to do is just tie that into here to make a triple set of balloons. Pull that in nicely. So there is my 3 balloons together, and what you'll do now is get a piece of your 260Q, and you are going to tie that in a knot around that triple set, and you're going to do that in a double knot to make sure it stays there, and that is your first set of balloons. Now what you want to do is do exactly the same process again and tie it onto this end. So I'm going to do that now. There we go. Okay, so there's my second one. Here's my first set, and all I'm going to do is just get the end of that modelling balloon and just tie that around there again in a double knot. So that is what you are going to be left with. So you've got your stretchy bit in the middle and your 2 sets of balloons. I'm going to make up another 2 of those for this one and then see how we get on. Now that we're ready to put all of our balloons together, what we want to do is put our water weight in. So we're just going to grab one of our quads, doesn't matter which one particularly. Get your water weight and just place it in the middle like this, and then pass the neck of that balloon through to the other side. So you can see I've got that in my hand there. What I'm going to do is pass that back over the other side of the balloon, and then I am just going to tie that at the bottom there in a double knot. So now if I show you, you've got your quad and then your balloon at the bottom with the water in it. I do need to change this around a little bit because I don't want the 2 rose golds to be next to one another, so I'm just going to do that now. Let's put that so it's that way, and that is what your bottom layer is going to look like. Next then what we're going to do is pop our second layer on top of this one, and that is just going to sit on the top like that. Then grab your 3rd layer again and pop that on the top there. So now we have got all 3 layers ready to be put together. Once our stack is all put together, we need to put the number on the top. So we're just going to grab our number, and we're going to add this in exactly the same way that we tied the 3 layers of latex balloons together. So we're just going to pop this into the top, and what we're going to want to do is try and get it as tight as we can into the top. So you're going to pull your ribbons down either side. So I've got one hand here and one hand here, and I'm pulling that down nice and tight. I want to make sure that there's no movement in this number one, apart from maybe a little bit of backwards and forwards. I don't want it to be flappy. So I need to cross my ribbons over underneath. I'm going to come back up to the top, cross them over again, and then I am going back down all the way to the very bottom of my design, crossing them over again. I'm coming back up to the top now, and then I'm going to tie those together, and I'm going to just double knot that, pull that down, and then just cut those little bits of excess ribbon off with my scissors. Now we're ready to put our 5-inch balloons in. So what we'll do now is grab those, and I've got them on these stretchy 260s, remember, so it's super easy to do. I am going to just pull them through the design and just place them where I want them to be. So you can go up from the bottom like this if you need to, or you can do it in from the top. And that is your finished design. So we've added in those elements of the organic. We've got the classic decor of the same sized latex balloons there, and then we've got the number one on the top. The last thing to add in is the personalising. So this was cut out on a Cricut Maker, and it's just a piece of white Oracle 651 shiny gloss vinyl. So I'm going to do that now. For this then you're going to need a piece of transfer tape. This is the one I use for balloons. It's very light tack and it's a paper transfer tape. I'm just going to pop that over my vinyl. I'm going to use my pink squeegee here just to give that a good burnish. I'm also going to burnish it on the opposite side. So turn it over, give it a good old burnish, and then I'm going to just peel back my backing paper. The best way to do this is get it folded completely flat back on itself, and then just walk your fingers back slowly over the design to release that backing paper from it. This piece of transfer paper I think has been used twice already, so it's something that you can use time and time again. So that there is ready now to go onto the balloon. Now I've got my balloon here, and here is my vinyl. So all I'm going to do is just pop that on the top. I think I'm going to go at an angle so it makes it a little bit more interesting. And I'm just going to pop that on there. The best thing to do is carefully follow the lines of your vinyl writing, especially if it's cursive font. So by that it's like a joined up font. You want to make sure that you've got no wrinkles in that vinyl. And again with the A, I'm just going from the inside out to make sure that it's stuck on. Because it's quite a thin font, you do need to make sure that you press it down well, because there isn't that much adhesive on the back of the vinyl because it's so thin. Again, you'll want to fold back your transfer tape like you did when you were taking off that backing paper, and just walk your fingers back slowly. If you find that any of your vinyl sticks to your transfer paper rather than being on your balloon, just go back up and give it another rub and then come back down again. That is on there beautifully now. So all I'm going to do now is just very gently go over that writing with my finger, just pressing it down, making sure that it's really well stuck. And that is absolutely perfect. Here is my finished number one stack then. It looks fantastic. The colours are just gorgeous. And that added personalising on the top there on the number just finishes it off beautifully. So I hope that you have enjoyed this video and that you found it to be useful. If you have, don't forget to ask any questions down below. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button as well. And I'll see you soon for another video. Take care of yourselves. Bye!